Today's our day to paint our large bulldog painting. We've done our practice ones. So today I want you to really focus in on highlights and shadows. And so after practicing with our different values, I should be able to see on this one, it's kind of hard because it is a yellow, but there's a really pastel yellow. Then there's the pure color, there's maybe a medium yellow, and I had to go in with that just straight white to get the highlights to be lighter on this one. And then my black value, the colors I mixed with black, give the shadow to push back the background, okay? Same thing with this one, only I did pinks. You can see where my highlights are, kind of where it would hit the top of his head, his ears, his snout, maybe this lip sticking out would have some, and then shadows. So my pure color is right here, right? Pure color, and then medium values all throughout, okay? Same thing here. I probably need a darker value behind because this just seems to blend with this. So I think I did better on this one because of the dark value here, pure value there, and then medium values mostly on his face. So before you start painting, I want you to think about this. You're going to paint right over it, so you can take a pencil and just make areas like, okay, I think I'm going to do a really light value right here on these eyebrows. I'm going to do a very light value on the very tip of his head, just a small one there. I'm going to do one here on the tip of his ears, maybe this part of his ear too, maybe actually this whole part, because I'm going to imagine that the light's hitting that. It's hitting this area right here because I'm seeing my light coming kind of this way. Definitely the top of his snout. So if you've ever seen those paint by number kits, you know what I'm talking about? They have like lines and areas where like this is number 1 and this is going to be painted number 2. You could do that with your painting. You could like make these areas so you're like, okay, I might leave this a little bit shadowy down here, so I'm not going to put any highlight there, maybe a little bit on his chin. And then all the rest of that is shadows. So you're going to do medium values for his whole face. Medium meaning you put a little bit of white in there, because this is especially if I'm using this blue, which I'm going to start with the blue, it's a dark value. It's pretty close. If you look, it's pretty close to black. It's very dark. So I want to lighten that up a little bit for my actual face, okay? Now you can have a skinny brush and a big brush. When you get into these really tight areas, this one might be a little bit too big for me. Everyone should have a mixing plate or even just a piece of scratch paper you can mix on. So I'm going to take some of my pure color here, and then do not mix in the paint cups, okay? I probably should have started with white, right, instead of dipping this brush in there. But if you get most of the paint off on here and all you do is dip it in here, it won't mix unless you stir. So I've got a little bit of both my colors. Here's a nice medium blue. I'm going to start with, I might make it a little bit darker blue, actually. Okay, so you see how I just dipped in there? I didn't stir it. If I stir it around, it's going to do this. It's going to lighten that, and we don't want to do that for everybody else. Now, you can either go around these areas. I'm going to paint right over those, but that's just my memory of where am I going to put my highlights, because I want it to blend really well. So I'm just going to take this color, paint it in here, and I won't make you watch me paint this all in, but I'm going to pause the video for a minute, and I'm just going to take all of this medium value and paint it right inside his head. Okay, let me pause this. Okay, I am back. I've got all my medium value painted in there. Now I need to go lighter. And you can, you want to keep this, you want this to be kind of wet when you do this because you want it to blend. So I'm just going to go into my white. I've already got medium in my brush. I'm just going to dip into white, and I'm going to take this a little bit lighter. And you notice I still have left some space on my mixing plate. So I don't want to cover this whole plate with one value. I want to have different values in case I need, I'm going to need some pure color. I'm going to need some mixed with black. So leave some space to use to mix. All right, if you remember from my, where I put my things, I decided I was going to put a little bit here on the eyebrows, a little touch going over the nose, the snout, on his little bottom lip here where his lip, I'm imagining his lip sticking out there, top of his ear, maybe even this part of his ear. My paint's getting a little bit dry. I'm going to mix a little bit more there. I think that's not as light. So when you remix, try to get it as close as you can to that original color that you had there. Okay, now if this doesn't, I could put this color, and then I could go even lighter, which I might. I'm going to put some lines in here where his face has got wrinkles. they've got wrinkles in their face, so this can give it that wrinkledy feeling because of the different values. Now, that's not as light as I can go. I can definitely go lighter than that. And I'm going to show you that here in just a minute. I might put some, I don't know. Nope, I don't know if I like that. I think I'm just going to make lines. All right, now I'm going to even go lighter. I know I've got tons of paint in here. Let me get rid of some of this. Just going to dip in white and take it down even lighter. And this could be done with the smaller brush. Actually, I probably should be switching to the smaller brush for some of this, but I'm just going to put, so now you see how I've gone light, medium, and dark medium. I've got 3 values there in the same place. I'm just putting a teeny bit of this just on the edges so it makes it go even more of a highlight. Just a little touch of that there. Maybe a little touch here. Maybe his cheek would have a little, ooh, I don't know, it's pretty light. Oh, that looks kind of tough. I'll leave it. Okay, now I'm ready to mix for my darker values. I want to wash this brush out before I start, so I'm going to pause this and go wash out my brush. Okay, I'm back. Now, we didn't use any of our pure hue, our pure color. So I'm going to do some of this first for shadows, because I know this is going to be darker than what I put in there. So I'm going to put a little bit of this pure color. I'm going to put some down here. I'll put a little bit on his bottom of his chin, maybe underneath his lip here. Let's see, well, for sure here. Okay. Now that's a really big jump, isn't it? So I might want to maybe take a little bit of this medium, just soften those edges just a little bit, because those are pretty dark. I like it though. Okay, I want a little bit more under the ears here. A little bit of that, maybe right in here where there would be a shadow. Maybe a little shadow down here. Just think, where would the light not be shining? I kind of want it around. I don't think I'm going to, because it'll blend with that black. But for these creases in his face, you could do some really skinny lines here if you wanted to, and show where his folds in his face are if you wanted. I may like that, I may not. I may end up painting over it a little bit. I don't really love this right here, but I know I can always paint in with a little bit of medium blue there to soften that. I'm going to do that. Okay. Now I do have some white on this, but not very much, because I just did a dab of that, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Next thing I'm going to do is my background, and I think I'm going to start the background with my pure color, and then I'm going to put some of the background's going to have a hint of that in it, okay? So I'm going to start with just pure blue, because I know this is darker. See how much darker that is? But I want it to go even darker than that on this shadowy side. So I think I'm going to, ooh, I didn't get a messy mat. Hold on. Let me pause for a moment. We got to go to the edge of our paper. Okay, since we know we're going to be painting right out here to the edge, you're definitely going to want a messy mat for this, because I want you to get all the way to the edge of your paper. And then the other thing, if you see that your background color is blending or looks too close to the color of your Bulldog, you definitely want to add a little bit more black there. So right around here, this is going to look the same. So I'm going to just take it, I'm going to take some of my pure color, put it on my plate here, because I don't want to mix in the cups. And then I'm just going to use a teeny bit, just a little bit of black, and stir it in, which will make me a navy blue. Ooh, that almost looks like black. I'm going to take a little bit more blue. Yeah, that's more of a navy. Okay, so you want this. I don't know if you guys can tell that's navy. It looks pretty black, doesn't it? It is a navy blue, but maybe even still. I might just mix a little bit of this right on here. There we go. It's a navy blue, but a very dark navy blue. And you want that, though. Do you see how when I do that, how this part of his face kind of comes forward towards us? That's how you can use shades or shadows, highlights and shadows. So this is a shade of a color by adding black. You can use that to change how the picture looks to you. So what things we want to come closer or to stand out, we put lighter colors. That's what highlights do. And things we want to recede or go back, we put shadows, and that makes them kind of fall away, or where you don't see them as much. So I'm going to just go back to pure color here. I know I've got some of that black. I'm going to put some of the medium in here and blend that around with into that. And then I'm just going to keep going pure color, because I know I have pure color there. I'm going to kind of do some of the mixing on my paper. You can do it on your paper, or on the plate, either one, whichever one's more comfortable for you. This works for me. Now I'm going to need to go in next week when this is dry. I need a little bit of that darker, don't I? I'm going to go in and touch up all of my black lines with a really fine brush when this is dry. But we want to wait till our background is dry so we don't rub our hands all through all that paint, right? And then you will be photographing this and putting it in your Artsonia, okay? So once you have the face and the background painted, put that on the drying rack. I say something I missed. Maybe just stand back and look at it and see if you missed anything. It's always a good idea. And then get that on the drying rack, and we'll be using a really fine brush next week to just do straight up black like this. And you see how you can't really see some of my lines? I'm going to just do a really fine, and this is not easy, but you're going to do a really fine line wherever your black lines were, and just in case you accidentally painted over some of them, or if yours were like mine, I used oil pastel. I want to give it the painterly quality, so I want to go over that oil pastel and make it look like paint. But you want to use a very fine brush for this so that it looks like just a really fine line. Okay? All right, have fun painting.